Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. In today's episode, I am going to discuss a handful of things that I would tell myself if I was starting over. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to have a lot of solid pieces of info that you can take away for yourself. You can think it through, you can marinate on all that good stuff, because hindsight is always 2020, and are always lessons that you can learn from people who are walking on the same road as you, but they may be 10, 20, 50, 100 steps ahead. So, from one force of nature to another, turn the volume up to an 11 and let's get feral. Yeah, let's get feral. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneu Herd, the podcast for feral ADHD women in business. What was that? In business, words are hard today, who refuse to play by the fucking rules. My name is Carrie. I am your host, and I am the chief weirdo of Carrie Out Loud. If you are new here, welcome. I am so glad you found the podcast. If this episode has an impact on you or helps you in any way, if you could please do me a quick favor, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you can be reminded to come back every Wednesday and leave a 5-star rating and a review of this episode to let me know what you loved about it, because that helps other women like you find this podcast. Since I understand your ADHD both personally and professionally, each episode has business expertise that is filtered through the lens of having a feral funhouse of a brain, also known as ADHD. Whether you're late diagnosed or undiagnosed but vibing, I do not care. All are welcome here. My approach is all about focusing on the upsides of our beautiful Technicolor brains and our advantages, while I also acknowledge that there are hard parts. They are very real, but there are things that we can manage. So if that is not your jam, I may not be your jam, but if it is, stick around. So let's get into it. If I were starting over, here is what I would do differently, or the information that I wish I would have had to help me move a little more smoothly and perhaps a little bit more quickly, bend time just a little bit in my own business, even though I really do believe that our road is our road for a reason, and not everything happens for a reason. I hate that phrase. Everything happens for a reason. No, I don't believe that. But I think that in our business, the road that we are on and the things that occur in our business are the parts that we are here to talk about and share with others to help them on their own road. So, the first thing out of the gate that I would do differently is not discount my previous experience in other jobs and in my life that have gotten me to where I am today. This has to do with the authority piece. If you just listen to all of the series about the anti-framework playbook, I talked about authority. Part of your authority is not discounting your experiences and what you bring to the table from your experience, even perhaps prior to when you started your business, because you are bringing things and bringing elements into your business, no matter where you are, that are all based on how you got to this moment right now, today. I loved to forget the fact that I'd been in business for over 20 years because I was newer to the online arena, right? So because I was newer to the online arena, I even had a client say this to me yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? She was saying, well, I'm new here. This woman has 4 years in. I'm like, new how? You are not new, new to what she is doing. But some of the social media stuff, it screws with her because, for us, we want a simplified plan for our social media, something that's a lot more simple. I am going to be putting together a free resource about that because I have some ways that make it simple no matter what your energy levels are. And I'm going to share that. But my point is, this person has 30 years in corporate America and had 30 years in corporate America and applies so many of the principles and things that she did there in her current business. And sometimes we need to be reminded that all of that counts. So I would not discount my previous experience, including life experience. That all applies. The second thing, I would have built the brand around me sooner and put my blinders on more quickly. The brand is me. I originally built my brand around who I thought I needed to be so that I was digestible or palatable or that I would fit in, which is exactly how you remain invisible. That is how you stay not a standout. That is how you don't create a cult brand. Fuck that. You want to attract and repel. Go watch the Defiant Ones. There's an example about racehorses and their blinders. If you have not watched it, it's just a really cool documentary about truly shaking up an industry, the music industry, and it has so many incredible lessons for entrepreneurs. But the one I want you to really look for is the racehorse example. You can also find that on YouTube. Or you can DM me. I'll send you the link to it from YouTube. But it is super important to watch. Why? Because you're not here to be a carbon copy of anybody else. And as ADHD humans, we tend to try on personalities of others instead of turning inward, figuring out who the fuck we are, and showing up as our most genuine self. There's this reel I saw one time that said, this one person said, I love your personality. And then the person with ADHD said, thanks, it's yours, because we mask, we mimic, we try on other things because we think that's what we need to do to fit in. But when we fit in, that's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do here. So the more you just allow yourself to be free and take yourself out of that cage and let yourself be genuinely who you are, the easier shit gets, because carrying masks and personas and all that bullshit is heavy. And it makes your business a lot heavier than it needs to be. Did I say this was easy? No. But this means you do have to turn inside and figure out what you stand for. And you can absolutely do that. If I can do that shit after almost 52 years, so can you. Promise. Number 3, I would talk about my hills to die on repeat to attract and repel out of the gate. This is the fastest way to find your people. What are some of my hills to die on? ADHD women in business can do anything they set their fucking mind to. ADHD has so many upsides. We are designed for entrepreneurship. We aren't disabled. We are differently wired. And I do know that it falls under a disability and can feel disabling and disarming and very fucking hard, especially if you have a lot of co-conditions that can come with that. I'm not discounting that, but I don't feel disabled. I feel like my brain is speaking, it has a different fucking operating system, like the difference between, Apple operating system and a desktop, right? They're two different things, but you get to the same fucking place, right? Our brain type is necessary for society to grow. We are the innovators, the problem solvers. When other people see a wall, we see 87 different solutions. How do you think shit gets done in the world? Neurodivergent people. I believe that. I was talking to my friend and we were actually we were actually saying we felt sorry for neurotypical people because they don't get to have the same kind of feral funhouse of a brain, and that must be boring. 2 years ago when I was diagnosed, I would have never said something like that. I'd be like, oh my gosh, woe is me. But once I got through my, what I jokingly call my dark night of the soul after my diagnosis at 49, I really started to remember who the fuck I was and what was underneath all of these masks that I had put on for so many years are the things that my friends and the people who have been around me and who adore me have loved the whole time. And I was sitting there trying to hide it. You want to be a standout? Talk about your hills to die on. Not everybody thinks ADHD has upsides. Not everybody thinks that the way that I think, right? They're not supposed to. We all have freedom of thinking the way that we think. But the best way to have your people find you and the best way to build that cult following brand that you want to have is make sure it is of you and you bring those opinions to the table, those hills you would die on. The next thing, number 4, I would work on this piece of mindset around money out of the gate. Being paid per hour is how it works in society that has been built this way. That ain't it. That is not entrepreneurship at all. That is what society has taught us. You are X number of dollars per hour. No. You're X number of dollars based on your experience to date and the transformation you give your clients or the product that you're creating or how long it takes or. That dollar amount will evolve over time as you add skills to your toolkit and get better at what you do or have a longer time in doing what you do, and the transformations that your clients have grow and become greater, and your own transformations become greater for yourself. That dollar amount will evolve as you add that. But it is not about charging what you're worth. I've told you repeatedly, I'm going to say this probably on every episode. Your worth is inherent and it is not tied to a dollar bill. So the mindset would be that your worth is inherent and it's not tied to a dollar bill, and that being paid by the hour is a construct of society, and that is not how it has to be done. There are so many different ways to do shit. So just because you aren't willing to sit at a job and get paid X number of dollars and work this hour to that hour doesn't make you fucking weird. You know what it makes you? A lot more free. A lot more opportunity to have choices. And there is no ceiling on where you get to go. Number 5, I would anchor my content for the first several months, maybe even a year, to revolve around one overarching theme. In the anti-framework playbook, I call it your messaging umbrella or your just do it statement. It's the theme that you want to be known for. I will give you my personal example. Mine is simplification. That's one word. Simplification, simplification, however, it has a lot of parts to it. It's simplifying offers, simplifying social media, simplifying your behind the scenes tech, simplifying your brand, simplifying the way you show up on social media so that it fits with your energy ebbs and flows, simplification of how you create your programs, simplification by creating templates. Do you see how this all applies across the board? Simplification. I'm the simplification queen. So I would lean into that same messaging over and over and over, giving different examples and different real world experience that my clients are having that all revolve around that one word, simplification. I approach simplification from so many different avenues, right? So, but that underlying word is simplification. And the other thing is ADHD women can do whatever they put their fucking minds to. That's also woven through my content. But in my grid, in my content, everything that I would create would come back to simplification over and over again, because I figured out that that is the overarching theme of what I do. Then, once you become more known for that thing, once you understand, once you have people who know this is what you do, who refer you because this is what you do, and you've really got that solid foundation, that's when you add to your repertoire. But get known and get your reputation built around the one fundamental thing that you do really well and talk about it on repeat. Have a piece of content weekly that tells your personal origin story in a nutshell. If you didn't listen to episode 149 of the podcast that talks about your messaging umbrella, go listen to that. That episode will help you with this messaging umbrella. But I would really, if you're in a place where people are still not fully clear on what you do, or the conversion isn't there, you're not having the DM conversations, you're not having clients hire you or purchase your offers or whatever that looks like in your world, I would say try to find an overarching theme that you can tie everything back to, because then people are super duper clear on what you do. And then you broaden over time, because once you have your culty followers and you have a good 150 people who love everything you do and they are there for it, that will just grow your business exponentially. But anchoring into that gets people in your DMs. How do I know this? Because I'm doing it, and it is something that is working because I keep speaking about the same thing over and over again, but in different ways, so that that message lands on different people in different ways. But they understand at the end of the day, what I help them do is simplify their shit so they get time back and they make more money in less time. The next thing, number 6, I would post, you're going to laugh at these things, but I will explain them: bofu, mofu, and tofu content. Bofu, bottom of funnel; mofu, middle of funnel; tofu, top of funnel. What this means is, and this is classic marketing 101. The people in your community, the people in your emails, the people on your social media, the people everywhere who are in your ecosystem are in one of 3 places of getting to know you. They're either top of funnel, meaning they've just discovered you and have no idea who you are. They found you through a piece of content and they're starting to check your stuff out because maybe they're looking for what you do. Middle of funnel content is where they're getting to see if they trust you, see if your style is what they dig, if they dig you as a person. Bottom of funnel means they're watching your stories, they're asking you questions, they pretty much have their credit card in hand. Okay, so that's the 3 different types of people who are usually in your ecosystem. If you need more leads, if you need to have more conversations, if you need to talk to people, and I hate the word leads because humans are humans, but if you need more human discussion, focus on top of funnel and middle of funnel in your grid, and bottom of funnel in your stories. Show the testimonials, give that context in there. These are the people in your stories who are watching you day in and day out. They're the ones who are about to hire you. Speak to them directly by using that bottom of funnel content. And I'm not saying to not put any bottom of funnel content where you have strong, direct calls to action of work with me in your content. I'm not saying never do that. But if you need to increase the number of people you want to talk to, if you want to turn that faucet on, focus on those first 2 types of content. If you need to maybe move them a little bit more past that, then you would focus on a lot more of that bottom of funnel type discussions in your stories and in your content. You get to turn it up, you get to turn it down. How fun is that? So I would do more of this out of the gate because I didn't know about this. And this is literally classic marketing 101. It is not something that a lot of coaches, business coaches, strategists teach. I know a few, but not many. And so if this wasn't a concept that your brain, like that you had been told, take it and run. And if you need help figuring out what is top, middle, or bottom of funnel content, and you know anything about ChatGPT, you can take one piece of content, one scenario, and ask ChatGPT to form it in a top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel piece of content. And it'll give you the exact same theme that you want to talk about from those 3 different perspectives. That is how your content is an employee for you. It does work while you're sleeping. It does a lot of the work for you, because how many times have you gone to someone's binged their content and we're like, oh my gosh, this is somebody I want to talk to. This is a person for me. When I ask my clients that question, they're like, oh, all the time. Yeah, when I was into really trying to figure out if somebody was for me, I just binged all that stuff. Quietly, by the way, not leaving comments, not doing all that, binging content and convincing themselves to work that they're wanting to work with you. This is how you can turn up the volume on that. Number 7, create boundaries around my time and energy fast. Things like don't coach or give away your intellectual property or your information for free in the DMs. Here's a reframe. Your clients are paying you for that. They're investing with you for that information. And you're going to just go give it away for free inside of the DMs. I'm not saying don't answer questions. I'm not saying don't be curious. I'm just saying coaching in the DMs isn't going to do jack shit for you. I promise you. It's going to keep you in the friend zone. And what it does is it's going to prime other people to hire someone. It's going to prime your people to hire someone else. One of my friends, Colleen, this is her thing she says, is where she talks about like, when you are overly educating people, not using calls to action of come and talk to me in the DMs, come and, grab this freebie and putting them into, an email sequence that kind of shows them what you are all about. When you don't do that, you are priming those people to hire somebody else. Don't do that shit. When you give away shit for free in the DMs, you're also doing the same thing. This is a boundary to set. Your paying clients are paying you for it. It isn't fair to give it away for free, but here's what you can do. Have free resources that are around your frequently asked questions. So if you know there are 2 or 3 frequently asked questions, things you get asked all the time, create a resource around it. A video with a PDF, a series of podcast episodes. If you have a podcast that you can send somebody to where they can get that information for free, you're going to see themes in questions people ask you. So create a free or a low ticket resource to answer those questions. Have your paying clients backs because they're investing with you. And also don't do work that's outside of the scope of what you're agreed to. You'll be tempted to do shit because you can. That isn't what you were hired to do. When you share a free resource, and I'm not talking about that, like I said, at lame ass PDF, like no offense. If you don't have some sort of video or something, they can see you as a human being they cannot Google your personality, right? They can Google a lot of information that may be on a PDF or, it might look really pretty. But if they don't also get a piece of you as a person, video is such a great way to do that. A mini podcast is another way you can do that. And give them a really quick win so that they know what you're all about. Make sure that if you're answering a frequently asked question, you are giving them a solution. Don't gatekeep. Because you think, I'm giving away all this information for free. They're not going to want to hire me. That's a lie. They want to hire you for the nuance. You're giving them high level. They're going to need that specific thing specified to them and their business. That is why they hire you, is for that knowledge and that expertise. Also, this helps them join your ecosystem because you give them a free resource, also known as what I call visibility igniters. That's what they're named in the anti-framework playbook. That way, everybody wins. They get a free resource and they come into your ecosystem, into your newsletter, into possibly a low ticket offer to see if they like you, if they're interested in you. They want to know what's next. What is their next step? So always make sure that you have that next step, but don't give away your shit for free, please. Create free resources so that you can do that without going back and forth for hours with somebody in the DMs, trying to think that if you do that, that's what's going to convince them to hire you. Nope, it isn't. I promise you that will keep you in the friend zone. Ask me how I know. Number 8, ADHD friendly systems on the back end that are simple and that speak to my brain sooner rather than later. Find somebody who specializes in systems and ask how they can all talk to each other. You don't need 17 different things on the back end of your business to make it function. It's usually 3 or 4 things that talk to each other. If you don't know how to do that, ask me for a referral, because people do free consultations to help show you how to not show you. The free consultation is to explain to you that, yes, these different things can talk to each other and that they can help you set that up. I have humans that I vet who are neurospicy like us. Do the call. That way you can see what's available, how to set those systems up, what kind of investment that would take. and just get that shit set up, because the sooner the better. That gives you time back, a lot of it. When you're just manually doing all that shit, you are not at some point going to have room for all those clients. And because we are over deliverers, if you're over delivering on the front end in ways that you don't need to be, and then you have these systems on the back end that aren't all talking to each other, and you're all up in that, all you're doing is you're now an admin for your business. You're the founder, baby. You're not the admin. There is a point where you hand shit off. And if you have trouble trusting people, do it slowly, because that will help you build that trust. And next thing you know, you're going to be handing all kinds of shit over to your person, because you get the final say. A couple more. Speak directly to your FES dreamy client in your content as if you are the only one they have been looking everywhere for. Because they have. They're looking for you. They're seeking somebody who does what you do. You are the solution, not your program, not your free ebook, not your freebie, you. So act like it. The person who's looking for you will be nodding their head when you talk to them, like you're reading their mind. And if you don't know how to do that, it's time to do some freaking market research and your old pal ChatGPT. Put the problem in there and say, what kind of language would my client use if they were in this situation? The real day-to-day language. What would they say? What kind of words would they be using to explain this or to describe this? Why do I know? Because I was my ideal client, and I remember the thoughts that I had and the things that I used to think and feel. I can draw from that. I can also draw from my clients and the things that they say to me. Do you know why I talk so directly about simplification? Because over 2 years, it was the one word that kept coming up over and over and over and over again. I want to simplify this. I want simplification. I need to simplify this. If only this were more simple. I took the cue from my clients. Once I had that, making that my umbrella message made everything so much more simple. My content is more simple. Every part of my business is more simple because it falls under that umbrella, but I can speak to them directly in my content. And on the flip side, if it is not your FES dreamy client reading, it's not going to resonate with them and they're going to move on, which is also exactly what you want. If you're not speaking directly to them, they're not going to keep reading. That's not a bad thing. I want you to take your content and pretend you are having a direct one-on-one conversation with that specific human being, whether it's a personality type that you work with, or it is a specific niche or a specific type of provider, service provider, or a specific type of whatever that is. Pretend you're sitting having a one-on-one conversation with them. What would you say to them when they're in this situation that you help them come out of? Build your content like that. And remember, bofu, tofu, mofu, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Make sure that you're talking to those people at all levels of them knowing you. This is a lot of nuance. Okay. I get that. I get that I'm giving you a lot of information here that's nuanced, but you're not new. And these are the things that get people having conversations with you in the DMs. You are not here for likes or claps or snaps or to go viral, even though viral is just 4 times more than your normal views. Everybody think viral means millions of people. No, it just means more people see it. You're not here for that. Those things do not get you paid. You're running a business, not a not-for-profit. I say that often. You want to have conversations, connections. That is what gets business coming your way more than you can handle, even those conversations. The next thing, don't use ChatGPT to be your brain, because you have a lot of ideas, a lot of really freaking amazing ideas. Do use it to flesh out your ideas or to hold on to them for you, to help you simplify anything that your brain is complicating, to do thought dumps into, so it'll translate what you said. Like, you can use the app and talk into it It'll translate it. You say, hey, can you organize this into bullet points, please? And it'll do that. But it's never going to replace the nuance that someone like I can give you as a human being. It's not going to replace your nuance. So use it for organization, use it for those things. But you are an idea machine. You're an ideator. You know your shit. So let it help you organize. Another thing with ChatGPT is if you have a piece of content that does really well, you can have ChatGPT help you do it over and over and over and over again, that same thing, because it resonates and it speaks to your ideal human. And you can do it in many, many forms. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel here. If something was speaking to your people, repurpose, 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 repurpose. Not everybody is seeing every piece of your content. And you can use that across the board. When I say repurpose, you can put that everywhere in your ecosystem: a podcast, a newsletter, a reel, a carousel, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can have one main theme, right? But you can use ChatGPT to kind of help you do that repurposing, help you organize your thoughts, especially when your brain is swirling and you just want to talk and dump it all out. It helps you with that. It's so beautiful for that. But you already have the ideas in you. Let it help you and support you. But it is not the only thing. You are. Next, hire a high-touch coach as soon as possible. Why? Because that is where the shit lives that you can't see. Nuance you can't see because you're too close to your business. Trying to figure everything out in your business, I've said it's the last several episodes, is like putting your nose on a mirror and trying to see your whole face. You can't see it. There's going to be times in your business where somebody on the outside looking in is going to benefit you so much and help slingshot you forward, because what it does is it slows you down. You know, a slingshot, how you kind of pull it back just a little bit, pull it back, and you create a little bit of tension, and you're just kind of pulling back a little bit and it's kind of standing still, and then you let go and it shoots you forward. Having somebody high touch who understands nuance and really understands business can help you see certain things you can't see. And somebody who is high level, high touch can also go into your business with you and help you fix the shit that you don't quite know. Like, well, what part of this goes first? Where do I start? This, that, the other, like, how does this work? Because you're too deep in it. You don't know where to start. So what happens with ADHD is we don't know where to start. So we're just not going to do it. We're going to keep putting it on the back burner. And then you're still going to have to deal with it eventually anyway. The reason why I'm telling you this one is not because I am a coach who takes a deep dive with my clients and I'm one of the only people who does it and I'm a fucking unicorn. I'm not telling you because of that. Okay, I am saying those things because they're true. But why I'm telling you this is I recently had a coach come into my sphere who is high touch like me, nuance like me, and high direction, and tells me exactly what shit to do or tweak, because I'm at the point now where I've been around a while and there are these little things that are next level that I need to tweak or to adjust that she can see. So since it's like a new level that I am in now, you don't always know what you don't know. And so often when you have more of that person who's kind of in your business with you and can really like see the forest for the trees and you can't, and there's like a bottleneck in your business somewhere and you just can't fucking figure it out, because I was there. I helped myself get out of some of it, but I had help to get the rest of the way out of my fucking way. And that has been a huge gift. And I used to think, like I said in the last episode, I used to think I was a fucking weirdo because I liked the deep dive. I liked the high touch. I liked being that intimate with a client's business and with them and understanding what their need is, because I know the nuanced things that can get them out of feeling the way that they're feeling and feeling like they love their business and it flows for their brain and it works for them. This is where you get time back. Time is not renewable. Money is a renewable resource. I'm not trying to sound, like I'm not knowing what's going on in the world, but it is a renewable resource. Your time is finite. If somebody can help you bend time so that you can get time back, because the whole reason you own a business is because of the flexibility and the freedom and the higher income and the fact there is no cap on where you can go. And if you want to build a way bigger business and you've never done that before, you're going to need somebody who's 100 steps down the fucking road from you. That's just reality. You can figure it all out on your own, but nobody, let's take sports, takes athletes, even the most elite, the highest of the high, the most elite, have coaches, have people who are other sets of eyeballs that can show them the things they personally are missing because they live in their own body. Just like we can have a coach who can look at our business from the outside looking in because we are too far inside of our quote unquote business body. Right? So yes, would I love you to hire me? Of course. If it's not me, I don't care. Find somebody who can help you with the nuance, because if you have a bottleneck you cannot find, somebody else may be able to point it out to you in literally 5 minutes. And I'm not saying that to shame you or to embarrass you. I'm saying that because it gets to be easier if you let it. Your job here is not to make your business and your life so challenging that it feels like shit. Because if you are wanting to be addicted to anxiety and you want to be addicted to feeling like running around with a chicken with your head cut off, and you want to stay in that element and you are afraid of success, you can stay there if you want to. But there are other ways. There's a way out of that where you get to be a lot more chill. A lot more. I am speaking from personal experience and from the experience of my clients that I see happening when they work with me over and over again. Yes, this podcast is about my knowledge and me promoting my services. But at the end of the day, please find somebody who fucking understands the nuance of business and how your brain works that you jive with, and let them help you. Because even though we would rather do anything than ask for help, we don't love to be told what to do, but we do want to be told how to fix our shit. And we do want to have clear starting points and a clear understanding of what our next moves are. That's how you unfuck yourself. I wish I would have known that sooner. However, I did figure it out. We all figure out those things when we are supposed to. And you've totally got this. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on yourself. Take some of these tips that I gave you in here and implement something. One thing, pick one thing you heard today where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of it that way. I'm going to try X, Y, Z. Let me know what it was. Shoot me a message, email me, whatever. Let me know what that thing was, because I give a shit about people. That's why I don't gatekeep. That's why I don't keep everything for myself, because I understand that my services live in the nuance, right? I can give you all of this information for free and all the time because my services live in the nuance. So it doesn't freak me out to share all of these things with you, because I want to see you win. I've been obsessed with women in business since I was in my early 20s. That has not gone away. It's not going to go away. It's been half my fucking life. But now that I know I have ADHD, and now that I have all of this experience behind me, and I've owned 2 other businesses that I burned down because of burnout, and I have all of that experience under my belt, why wouldn't I want to help other women to avoid that shit and make a lot more money with a lot more chill in their life? Even if you have a fucking feral funhouse of a brain that's really loud, you still get to have a life that is a lot more by design, not default. Stop living in the default. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it with so much love. That is so frying pan of love, because I've lived there, and it's not a place you have to stay. You do not have to stay there. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you love this episode, please tell your business sisterhood, everyone, tell them all. Send me a carrier pigeon note, drop me a DM, let me know what you got out of the episode. One of my core values is deep connection. I'm an ADHD person. I love depth and I love hearing from my people. So until next week, I see you. I love you. I'm fucking rooting for you always. Please stay feral. Always stay a member of the Feral Women's Club. Well-behaved women. That ain't us, girl. And I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.